At ITR, we're always focused on looking into the future and what's ahead. And for 5 key industries, we are looking at what the second half of the decade is going to hold and what we should be considering. These 5 industries that I'll discuss today are the private equity industry, the tech sector, construction, manufacturing, and the financial sector. So, what I'll be doing here is sharing 5 areas that we should be focusing on within each one of these industries as we navigate through the second half of this decade. I wanted to start off with private equity. First and foremost, we continue to hear a lot about sustainability and ESG investing. Now, there's an increasing focus on this environmental, social, and governance factors, and a lot of investors are demanding more sustainable and socially responsible investments. Private equity should also be looking at the technology integration. That's leveraging these advanced technologies like AI and data analytics to drive some of these efficiency gains and identify some new investment opportunities. Sector specialization is also important for private equity. It's developing expertise in specific sectors to better identify some of these high growth opportunities and add value to existing and new portfolio companies. Geographical diversification is important, exploring emerging markets for new opportunities, but also keeping in mind some of these geopolitical risks and being able to manage those geopolitical risks based on where you're investing in a particular region of the world. And finally, I'd also highlight operational improvements. That's these operational efficiencies. There's a lot of tools that are at our disposal for private equity companies in order to maximize the growth and maximize the returns in the private equity world. I recently sat down with Albert from Butcher Joseph, who's a financial expert, and here are some of his comments.
You should be doing things to prepare for that ultimate decision that could add incremental value to your business. So if there's a spot in your senior management team that could be filled right now before going into the market, try to fill it. Right. If you have a salesperson you need to put in there, or a finance person need to put in a role, fill those roles in. If you have customer concentration and you know that's going to be a point of contention for a buyer, maybe work on expanding your customer base over the next 1 or 2 years while you kind of solidify your decision as to whether to sell or not. So there are things to do while you're mulling over the ultimate decision that are part of normal operations, but if done within the greater context, will add value when the time comes to do a deal.
So those are the 5 things that I would be considering if I'm in the private equity space as we navigate these next 5 years. Now, there's some overlap when we look at some of the other sectors compared to what I was saying with private equity. But for the tech sector, I think we have to mention AI and machine learning first. So for the tech folks out there, that's number one on the list, likely number one on everyone's list. And that's continuing to advance and further integrate AI and machine learning, for that fact, across various industries, enhancing automation and decision-making processes. Cybersecurity, of course, honorable mention at number 2 here. Quantum computing is becoming a bigger part of our lives. It's emerging as this transformative technology and with great potential to solve a lot of the complex problems that the tech sector is dealing with, even beyond the current technology we have with classical computers, for example. We're continuing to see strides being made in the 5G and connectivity space, expansion of these 5G networks, enabling faster and more reliable connectivity, and that's leading to a lot of new applications and services. So 5G and connectivity, major area of focus. And then finally, the SaaS and cloud computing markets. The growth in software as a service and cloud computing gives businesses this scalable resource and cost-effective solution for running their businesses. So those would be the 5 that I'd call out for the tech sector specifically. As we move into more of the physical labor side of things, looking at construction and manufacturing, construction, there still is a lot of comment around those sustainable business practices. We hear it a lot talking with our clients every day. emphasis on green construction methods and materials to reduce the environmental impact is something that is still in high demand. We're seeing more of the modular and prefabricated construction, and that's really a way to improve some of the efficiency and reduce costs in this rather expensive construction market, whether it's commercial or residential at this time. Like the tech sector, we are seeing some technology advancements for construction, and I'm talking about smart buildings here. That's the integration of IoT, the Internet of Things, and smart technologies to create more efficient but also intelligent buildings out there. Labor shortages and automation is something that we really need to be factoring in. We factor it into our construction forecasts. And so we need to continue to find creative solutions to offset these labor challenges. And using advanced construction technologies like robotics and 3D printing, I expect are going to continue to make up a larger part of the industry or continue to increase in value as we move forward through the second half of the decade. And finally, the urbanization and infrastructure. That's investments in infrastructure and urban development projects driven by increasing urbanization. Also another trend that I would expect to become rather popular over the next 5 years for construction. On the manufacturing side, we are continuing, similar to construction, to seeing the adoption of smart technologies. We're calling this, and I think the industry has coined this as Industry 4.0. That's adopting these technologies, including AI, robotics, all to enhance productivity and efficiency gains. We've talked about this a lot on various podcasts here at ITR. It's so important to be leveraging these technologies in the manufacturing space to drive efficiency forward. Supply chain resilience. I think we all learned some lessons over these last few years, and building a more resilient and flexible supply chain so that we don't, or at least minimize the disruptions that we went through over these past few years will be important. The sustainability and circular economy, again, manufacturing, like construction, like private equity, continuing to find ways to reduce the environmental impact, minimize waste. There is high demand for that out there. The customization and value add piece for manufacturing is going to continue to be important. So leveraging a lot of these advanced technologies that we've been talking about to offer more customized, streamlined, personalized products. There's a need for that additional value add in manufacturing. And then finally, understanding the global trade. Understanding, I think it goes well with some of the supply chain resilience, navigating the different global trade policies and legislation that will be coming our way. You think about tariffs and some of these disruptors that could be coming our way over the next 5 years. Having a plan and being able to navigate those global trade dynamics will be important for manufacturing in this ever-increasing nationalistic society that we are living in. And then finally, I'd like to finish off with the financial markets. First and foremost for me, the financial markets, that's the digital transformation that's going on. The digital transformation in financial services, the fintech innovations in digital banking, those are going to be important trends to stay on top of as they make up a bigger part of how we do business around the world. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Now, varying opinions on this, but we have seen as of late increasing adoption and regulation of these types of technologies. So it's a trend that's very important to the financial markets and worth monitoring. Something else worth monitoring that we talk about every week at ITR is the central bank policies and interest rates and how those will be transforming investment strategies. As ITR talks about preparing for the 2030s and looking out over the next few years, we've made it clear that the investments that got you here aren't going to be the ones that carry you through. So understanding how this interest rate and monetary policy environment evolves is going to be very important to the financial sector. Again, growing focus on some of the sustainability investments, especially as it relates to portfolio management, is going to be increasingly on the minds of bankers and investors around the world. And then finally, it goes without saying, but risk management, enhancing our risk management strategies. adopting different tools with all the technologies at our hands to navigate some of this market volatility and economic uncertainties that we're dealing with today and expect to be dealing with as we move through the second half of this decade. So those are 5 key ideas for 5 important markets to us to be considering as we navigate our way through the next 5 years.